everyone, welcome back to Beauty for Ashes. My name is Kashina. I would like to again formally welcome all my new subscribers to the channel. Thank you for liking, thank you for sharing, and thank you for commenting. I'm just really honored that you've decided to take this journey with me, because together and with faith, my hope is that you will now take my stories and my testimonies and believe God for yourself to do exceedingly abundantly all that you can ask for or imagine. So again, I would like to formally welcome you to my channel, and a special thank you to those of you who have purchased the book and have really told me how your life has been impacted. It's been an absolute pleasure and joy just to hear your testimonies and how the book was able to give you some clarity regarding your walk with the Lord. And again, for those of you who have enrolled in the programs and we're fellowshipping together, I'm just praying for everyone, and I'm just so grateful that you've decided to invest in yourself and also take this journey with me. So today I would like to share a very personal experience with you, and that is my experience with the counterfeit. So ladies, if you're believing God for your God-ordained marriage, your God-ordained spouse, I would like to encourage you, please be ready and be prepared for the counterfeit, because that person is coming. And the purpose of the counterfeit is just for the enemy to derail your life and have you walk out of the promises of God. So if you're waiting for your God-ordained spouse, how do you know that the person who is approaching you, the person who is pursuing you, is in fact the person who the Lord sent? Stay tuned to hear my story. So through my season of singleness, the Lord had me in a space where I was invisible to the world. Let me tell you, there was absolutely nobody checking for me, okay, for about 3.5 years. The Lord had called me to a place where it was just me and Him, and it seemed as if He covered me with a veil, and there was no one, no males who, were pushing for my attention, or I wasn't interested in anyone during that period of time. However, in May last year, the Lord began to slowly tell me that I'm approaching my season for marriage. And I knew that the Lord lifted the veil, because out of nowhere, I had guys now reach out to me on Facebook or on other, media platforms saying that, they're interested. And it was just so weird to me, because for 3.5 years, I was hidden from the world. So if you're in a season of hiding and you feel like no one is pursuing you, no one is interested, just know that that is an ordained and orchestrated season by God. And there's something that He wants you to learn, and something that He wants you to develop why He has you in that season. So embrace that season, because trust me, you will come out. And once you come out and you're ready for your husband, you have to prepare yourself to meet the counterfeit. One day I was driving. I recently purchased my home, and I was heading back to the city after dropping off a few items, and I heard a specific name in my spirit. So let's just say the name that I heard was John Brown. Okay, and because I knew I was already in the season for marriage, I thought that now this is the person that God is saying is my husband. Do you see how we're easily deceived? When I heard that name, I never thought to go ask the Father, who is this person? Because I'm pretty sure the Lord would have said to me, prepare for the counterfeit. But I automatically assumed that this person was my husband, and that was their name. Guys, I kid you not, the following morning, I received a friend request on Facebook from John Brown, the exact same person that I heard in my spirit the day before. So of course, being ready for marriage and now hearing that it's my season for marriage, automatically I thought that this has to be the person. So I accepted his request on Facebook, and immediately he started to call using that Facebook call app, so he didn't have my number, but he was calling me through Facebook, and I was just taken aback, and I'm like, you don't call somebody you don't know. And then he sent me a message, and he said to me, there's something that I have to tell you. So before I even, picked up the phone, I went through his profile, and I saw that he was a man of God. He would post the scriptures, and So in my head, I'm like, okay, this is my husband. Like, it's a possibility that this person is my husband. So when he called again, I picked up the phone and he said to me, I have something to tell you. I don't know you, but your profile popped up in my Facebook catalog or whatever you call it. And the Lord immediately spoke to me and he said, John Brown, this is your wife and you need to pursue her. So this is how the counterfeit came. Guys, as I was talking to this individual, everything that the Lord told me before, how my husband would come and the scenario that he will come in, right? This person dot every I and cross every T. The Lord spoke to me and he said that my husband would not be from the place, my surrounding community. It would be, I would meet him at a distance. The Lord said that, but once I meet him, he's releasing us to get married right away. We should not delay. And this individual, the first day that he reached out to me on Facebook, he's saying, I know you're my wife and we should get married. So at this point, I'm now stuck because as I'm sifting through his profile, I do realize that he's a man of God. But let me tell you something, ladies, and I'm being very, raw. I was 0% attracted to this man. 0%. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with him, but there was absolutely no attraction for me towards him. Okay, so that was the first challenge that I caught myself in right off the back. But because he was just so filled with faith and, he was saying that he has the gift of healing and he would heal people who, had cancer, and he would tell me all these amazing stories. And I'm like, okay, this has to be God. Why? It aligns itself with what the Lord told me, how my husband would come, right? And the Lord confirmed it to him that I'm his wife. So 9 times out of 10, this is my husband. So guys, I gave him my number. So now he wasn't only calling me from Facebook, he's calling me directly. And I remember just really going before God in utter sheer disappointment. There's a scripture that says, the blessings of the Lord maketh a man rich and it adds no sorrow. Just this blessing that I thought was from God, I was sorrowful I was crying, asking the Lord, why would he force me to marry this person? Because again, I thought it was God. If you're in a certain situation where a guy has approached you and you feel like your expectations of who the person is that you would marry was not fulfilled, I would encourage you to sit before God and really discern if this person is your husband. Because I was not attracted to him either physically, I wasn't attracted to his spirit. The only thing that kept me thinking or kept me believing that he was my husband was the fact that he came exactly how the Lord said my husband would come. Okay? And with that said, after a few days, I agreed to marry the counterfeit. I spoke to this man and I told him that I will marry him. And once I did that, my heart was crushed. And a part of me wanted to resent the Lord because I thought that I waited faithfully and I waited as best as I could. Even through the mistakes, I was repentant. When I idolized marriage for a while, and to see that the Lord would send somebody who was below my expectations in the sense of I wasn't attracted to their spirit, I wasn't attracted to them physically, there was nothing about this person. Just the thought of even procreating and bringing this man children in this world was just an absolute heart-wrenching thought. Okay? But yet he seemed to have the fruit initially, and he came exactly how the Lord said my husband would come. So with that said, I agreed to marry him. So I remember one morning, I'm just praying and I'm like, God, you have to tell me when I should go and get married to this man, because he lived overseas as well, which was a part of God's word. that the person that I would get married to would be at a distance. So that was expected. Guys, I kid you not, I heard in my spirit June. Mind you, at this point, I feel like the scum of the earth. Like I was just not happy. An hour or two later, the counterfeit called me, John Brown, and he said to me, we should get married in June. I feel like the Lord is saying we need to get married in June. Now, this was all the confirmation that I thought that I needed, because I just asked the Lord when we should get married, and he said June, and this was May, the end of May, so that means in the next 4 weeks we should be getting married. And the counterfeit is now telling me that yes, this is the time that we should get married, because he heard June from the Lord. Guys, I just want to encourage you. You have to brace yourself and be ready for the counterfeit. They will come exactly how the Lord said your husband will come. They will come bearing the good news, professing, telling you that, listen, you are my wife, and they will pursue you. But we have to be discerning, because otherwise we will yield and we will marry the counterfeit. And then, whether we're not married or we marry the counterfeit, the enemy still wins. He can block you from getting married, or he can send someone who wasn't in God's design for you to marry. Please be discerning. Be prayerful. Lay down your heart. Do not allow yourself to be in a place of desperation, because desperation will push you into the arms of the counterfeit. Yes, I know the way is hard and it's challenging, because I've been there and I've cried tears. But we have to be in a place where we're so surrendered to God. When that counterfeit comes, we're able to discern this person, knowing full well that God is a giver of good things. So I agreed to marry the counterfeit. I agreed to marry him in June. And I shared it with my mom and my immediate relatives, and especially my mom. She was not having it. She was like, I'm not coming. I'm not supporting you, because I know this is not it. And no matter how I told her the confirmation that, would take place between both of us, she was like, this is not it. So my idea after that was just to eliminate her from the process. The person who the Lord put in my life as accountability, I was planning on just taking her out and just having my sister come to support me. So I'm in distress, okay? Because now this man has presented himself, and I know the Lord already said that I'm in my season, and this man is saying that God is saying that I'm his wife. And he came exactly how the Lord said my husband would come. I would pray for something and this man would confirm. And I'm like, okay, this is it. And I'm like, God, I'm just going to trust you that you're going to open my heart to love this person, or even be attracted to this person. Okay, because as of now, I am disappointed. Okay, I'm being real honest with you. That is how I felt. Lord, I am disappointed in the person that you are saying is my forever partner. I agreed to marry them. However, shortly afterwards, I realized that there were some red flags that were presenting itself. And this is another tip. Do not ignore the red flags. The red flags are there for a reason, and the Lord will show you those red flags. But sometimes, as I said, we Ray Charles our way past the red flags because we're in a season of desperation and we really want someone to be with and someone to call our own. One of the red flags was because of the speed that this marriage would occur. This gentleman, John Brown, said to me, because we're getting married so quickly, I didn't save enough to purchase you a ring. So I'm asking if you can send me $200 so I can finish paying off for this ring. Now, guys, in my past, I was the one who was financially putting in the effort in my relationships. Okay, or I would say I would invest more financially. And this thing now is mirroring what I've been through in my past. And that is what I said. The Lord will not send you someone who mirrors what you've been through in your past. We must be discerning. This individual wanted me to help him purchase my ring as my God-ordained husband. I remember we were having a conversation one day, and he also said to me something really strange. He said, you know, I am going to be the best husband that you will ever have, because when you come home from work, you will have a nice warm bath with rose petals. I'm going to cook for you. I'm going to make sure your house is clean. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to have the bath with the rose petals. I'm going to have my dinner. Aren't you planning on working? Aren't you planning on being the provider of the home? Why is it that now I'm coming home, right, and my bath water is filled nice and warm with rose petals? You should be at work. You should be thinking about going to work. And that in itself was a red flag. That in itself was a familiar spirit, because I know that spirit. I've been in contact with that spirit many different times on many different occasions. And that is what raised the red flag in my heart. And I said, God, this is familiar. This person already, you can see that he has no intention of providing for me or my family. Ladies, if you see yourself dating the same person over and over, and when I say the same person, I mean the same personality. They're abusive. They are demeaning. You know, they suck you dry financially. You're always putting out more than what you're getting. They are disrespectful. They're constantly cheating. And it's like you find yourself in the same situation over and over. I would encourage you to address those familiar spirits. So I went in fasting and prayer. And actually, day one of fasting, I said to this individual, I'm going to need some time. And when I'm telling you I need some time, you cannot contact me at all. Okay, do not call me. I need time away so I can sit before God and now pray. Because up to this time, I was always hearing what he was saying, and I never really brought it to God because everything seemed so perfect when I was matching it to what the Lord had told me before. And let me tell you, the first hour that I decided to go into fasting, John Brown called me about 30 times. And I'm not exaggerating. The first hour. I told him that I needed 3 days. And within the first hour, he called me about 30 times. And when he called me, he would constantly say, did my father speak to you yet? Did my father speak to you yet? Did my father speak to you yet? And I'm like, what are you, like, leave me alone. Give me an opportunity to seek God for myself. The counterfeit does not want you to have time away to pray or to figure things out, because they are so afraid that you may walk out of the relationship. They try to cloud your mind, they cloud your vision, and they cloud your spirit, because the whole idea is to deceive you. But in the name of Jesus, you will not be deceived by the counterfeit. Okay, you will have the discernment to know or to differentiate your God-ordained spouse from the counterfeit. And he would constantly call me, and I'm like, okay, I need some time. I need to go into fasting and praying for 3 days to ask the Lord if you are my husband. And he would say, I know I'm your husband. I know you're my wife. So I know God is going to tell you yes, because the Lord already told me to pursue you. And he would use that for me now not to go into prayer to ask God for myself. Do you see how this enemy works? And to be honest, guys, this all transpired in the matter of 5 days. And I remember on the 5th day, I didn't even go into fasting. I just called it quits on my own. I remember laying in bed and I said to God, I said, Lord, if this is the husband that you are sending for me, I am walking away. Because at this point, I haven't heard from the Lord. Okay? If this is the person, God, that you want me to be with, that you want me to marry, I am making a conscious decision to be disobedient because I am not marrying this man. And that is what I said in my prayer time. And I told the Lord how I felt like I was in deep sorrow just thinking that he is my husband. And I told the Lord that I understood that he came exactly how my husband said he would come. And he said the exact same things that my husband, the Lord said my husband would say. And he seems to be a man after God's own heart. But I am walking away from what seemingly to be the blessings of the Lord. Because trust me, those blessings, or that specific blessing, was adding sorrow to my soul. There was absolutely no joy at the thought of marrying this individual. And I left it like that. And as soon as I closed my eyes, ladies and gentlemen, I heard the Lord speak, and he said, "Well done. There is another." I'm like, "Lord, where have you been? I've been seeking you, and you made me go through this 5 days of absolute terror. Like, where have you been?" And then that was when the Lord started to teach me that you cannot separate my words from my peace, because I lead by my peace, the peace that passeth all understanding. So if I've spoken a word to you and you see that word in full manifestation, but there is no peace and there is no joy and there is no righteousness, then it's not me. Because you cannot separate me from my peace. I am the Prince of Peace. So if I've spoken a word to you, Kashina, and you see the full manifestation of that word, but you do not have my peace, then it's not me. This person, he came exactly how I said your husband would come. But you had no joy and you had no peace. And that is your indicator to know that, in fact, the person who I'm sending is your God-ordained spouse. Well done. There's another that is coming. Guys, and for those of you who don't know, 6 months later, I met my real husband. And it was the exact opposite experience. Okay, I'm attracted to his spirit. I'm attracted to his quality. I'm attracted to his character. And I'm physically attracted to him. Because when I met my husband, I remember saying to God that, "Lord, this is the person. I want my husband to be exactly like this person." Okay, because I said before that I was able to discern the Christ-like qualities in my husband immediately. Okay. And of course, the Lord already knew that he was my husband, but he didn't tell me. But then my husband set a standard for the type of person that I was believing God for. Because I knew what I wanted and I knew what the Lord was presenting in my spirit. But I haven't seen up until then someone in full manifestation of that promise. And my husband was the first person. Of course, I didn't know then, but I did say to the Lord that I would like for my husband to be in that particular way. I would like for my husband to be that way. And the Lord in his sovereignty already knew that he was drawing my heart and he was drawing his heart, and it was his ultimate plan for us to be together. But ladies, you must prepare yourself for the counterfeit. Do not allow yourself to be in a state of desperation, because the enemy will deceive you to its core. And remember, if someone is pursuing you, actively pursuing you, saying that they're ready for marriage, and they come, how you would expect your husband to come, you still need to go a step further with discernment and discerning if, in fact, this person is the person that the Lord sent. And as I said, the word of the Lord accompanies his peace and his joy. And you cannot separate the Lord's words from his peace. And he will lead you and he will guide you by his peace. Okay? So I just wanted to leave you with that. If you ladies have any questions, please feel free to comment or to reach out to me. If you think, in fact, you're struggling in this season where you have a counterfeit, or you're not sure if this person is a counterfeit and you just need someone just to help you pray and discern it through, please feel free to reach out to me. If you're interested, please feel free to enroll in a session or a program on Beam of Hope. And again, I'm just so delighted that everyone is here with me, and despite what is taking place in the world, please be encouraged. Please do not lose your peace, and just trust in God's will be done on the earth. So before I leave, guys, I just wanted to show you guys my baby bump. I am roughly halfway, and I'm hoping that in the summer, a lot of you are asking for a Q&A session between my husband and myself, and that will take place in the summer for sure. That, you can ask him his questions. He will not be on YouTube as much as I am, of course, but just for the Q&A session, you can, send in your questions pretty soon, and he will answer them and how he knew I was his wife, or just whatever questions that you have. So again, thank you guys for watching, and let me just quickly show you guys my baby bump. Okay, so that is my little baby bump. So I wanted you guys to be a part of that process as well. So please, if you have any questions, any concerns, feel free to reach out to me. Until then, everyone have a great rest of the day. Bye-bye.